Hey creators, thanks for coming back to my channel. So today we're going to be starting my 13 days of Halloween's creepy, spooky looks. And for today's look, we're going to be doing a scary monster. Make sure to like and subscribe. I post videos every Wednesday and Sunday, and let's get creating. So first, I always like to moisturize just to make sure that my skin is hydrated. I actually already did that off camera. Today I'm trying a new primer that I haven't tried before. It's just the Sephora brand. I haven't really decided whether or not I actually believe in primer, but everyone seems to love primer, so I wanted to, especially with some of these more creative looks, I wanted to make sure that everything sticks really well. This is the primer that I decided to go with. I have like a combination skin, so that's why I decided to go with this smooth, and I'm just going to be applying it with my finger. I especially want to make sure that I get some on my forehead and my eyes, because that's where most of my fantasy makeup today is going to be. So first, I like to do a matte, like just the color of my eye. So all the colors that I'm going to be using are from the James Charles palette with Morphe. I know that he has some issues that are floating around. I try not to get into any of the drama. I'm here for the makeup, and it has the nicest rainbow palette that I personally own. I know that there are many other choices, but this is just what I find easiest because it has the most colors selection. So the first color, I'm gonna put a base. I always start with my eye just because no matter what, I always end up with some fallout on my face, and it's just easier to do foundation afterwards and concealer. I'm going to be going with just a red and black theme, so I'm putting red all over my lid. Okay, and then I try to build up color by color, and then after I do color by color, then I blend it together. That was a purely matte color, and then I do a more metallic. I try to keep a fluffy brush just for that fallout. I don't have a big mess. So I went from like an orangey red to a metallic red brown, and then I do want to put some black on the edge. I get another brush and I start to buff it out. Now I want to add some more red. When you do red and black, you just have to be careful. Really easy to do. Funny story, I cosplay as Harley Quinn a lot. I'm probably going to have her as one of my looks in the 13 looks. And there was one time where I was cosplaying at a convention, and it was the end of the night, and I was super exhausted. So we're still walking around, and I didn't want to go back to the hotel yet. So I just took my wig off and my contacts out and stuff. I went to the hotel, and the manager who was running the desk that night was freaking out that he thought that someone beat me up because I looked like I had 2 black eyes. And I had to tell him over and over that no, my eyes weren't black because of that. My eyes were black because I rubbed off my makeup and I didn't have my like makeup wipes on me or anything. So now whenever I do like an elaborate makeup, I make sure to bring makeup wipes so I don't have to continually inform anyone that no, I was not beaten up. So I like to take a smaller brush. Now none of my brushes are like really expensive brushes. I feel like you can pretty much do whatever you want with whatever you have. I have some of the more expensive brushes. I have some cheap brushes that I got at the pharmacy. They all work pretty simple, but just remember, if you do get like the cheap makeup brushes, especially with it being Halloween, if you get the brushes from Spirit or something like that, you definitely get what you pay for, and you just have to be careful. I like to have synthetic bristles, but you just want to make sure in case, like, if you have an older brush or if you have the cheaper ones from Spirit, Halloween, or even drugstore brushes, although they have gotten a lot better lately, that they might fall apart and you might have like little tiny pieces of hairs that you're gonna have to pull out of your makeup, which is never fun. So I like to tie in my eyeshadow underneath my eye as well. So I'm using the really bright red. I'm gonna just drag it under. So I actually normally do it first, but I forgot. So I'm going to do my eyebrow real quick. I fix a couple hairs. I'm not gonna make you watch through that, but I'm gonna do that now. All right, so there's my eyebrow. Now it looks a little bit crazy, but we are going for a look here. So we went a little bit darker. I tried to follow the shape of my eye a little bit. I'm pretty happy with it, even if it does look a little bit crazy at this point, but trust me, trust the process, it'll get better. Now we're working on our eyeliner. I like to use a pen or a liquid. Today we're going to be using NYX's Epic Ink Liner. I actually just recently got the new Mario liner, and oh my god, it's amazing. I just happened to not have it on me right now, but in my next video, we're definitely going to be using that one. So I like to do and I feel like the liner always pulls everything together, so it doesn't look quite so crazy. And then I make sure that I have red all the way down the line of the liner. Normally what I do is I put my lashes on next, but because we're going to be doing a little bit of extra makeup that I don't normally do, I'm going to save that for last, just because it's a little bit easier to look around without having a full lash on. So now that you saw that eye, and there's the other side. Now I already did on this eye, but on this eye, I'm going to put on the Urban Decay Perversion Waterproof Mascara. This is one of my favorite buildable mascaras. Has everyone seen this Hubie Halloween movie? It's really reminiscent of all the like 90s Disney Channel movies like Halloween Town. It's so cute and funny, and I mean, Adam Sandler has done both like really good and really bad movies, but this one seems to be like really funny and reminiscent, and it's actually what I'm kind of half watching as we're working on this together. So the next thing that we're going to be doing is foundation. My favorite recently is the Fenty Beauty. I use 200, and I have the Pro Filt'r Soft Matte Long Wear Foundation. And I put a couple dabs on my brush, only when I'm doing a thicker like costume makeup. If I was going to be doing like my everyday makeup, I still use the same foundation, but I do use my beauty blender, and it makes more of a natural look to it. And I just kind of dab it. I usually don't put this much on in the beginning. That was a lot. I'm gonna have to buff that out. Believe it or not, I actually dyed my hair like 3 weeks ago. This quarantine has really caused the stress levels in my life to go a little bit higher than normal, so I've been dyeing my hair a little bit more than normal. I don't know if any of you feel that same way. I really miss my convention friends. Some of my best friends I made at conventions, and unfortunately they live in Pennsylvania and in North Carolina, and I'm up in Connecticut, so it's a little bit difficult to see them. So conventions have always been the way we connected, and now that I don't have that, texting is just, and calling and even video calls, they're definitely not the same. Is anyone else really missing their convention friends? And normally I use Shape Tape. I love Shape Tape by Tarte. It's my go-to, but when I was getting concealer, it was the same time I was getting my new foundation, and I was getting it at Sephora, who do not carry the Shape Tape. It works pretty well, still not quite as well as the Shape Tape. This I will be using a beauty blender for. Let me go wet this real quick. Funny story, when I first started getting into like nicer makeup and using brushes and just putting it on like a grown-up, I guess we'll say, I got a beauty blender because everyone was like, you had to absolutely get a beauty blender. And I was like, of course I had to as well. And I didn't realize you had to get it wet. So because of that, it never actually blended. And it almost was like, it didn't bounce on my skin. So it was almost like I was smacking my face over and over, and it made the whole thing difficult. And then I watched a video on YouTube from another creator, and they said, hold on a second, let me go wet my beauty blender. And I was like, what? You're supposed to wet your beauty blender? That's so crazy. And then I tried it and I was like, oh my God, life changer. Life changer, because I'm a dummy. I mean, who actually, unless it's a new product, who actually is going to be looking at the directions? I mean, maybe you are. I mean, let me know below if you actually look for the directions of things that everyone pretty much uses. All right, so the next thing that we're going to be doing is putting on our horns. I purchased these horns from Spirit, so we'll see how this goes. They're these little guys. And yes, I have the wrong hair wrap for this, but I couldn't find my red one, and I figured it doesn't really matter because it's not part of the look. So they put this little net on it. It starts way bigger. It starts more like this size, but I think that this should be fine, and it'll have less for me to have to conceal because I wear lace front wigs, and I know that there's always more lace than you actually need on there. So what I'm going to do to attach it, I'm going to be using some eyelash adhesive, and we're gonna hope that this works because I forgot to purchase Spirit gum, which is probably the best way to do it. I will say that after this video, I'm probably going to be taking this look right off, so I don't really need anything as long lasting as Spirit gum. So this should work, and it looks like I did not completely buff that one spot out, and it is driving me bananas. Oh my God, there's like this weird twist at the end of this movie, and I didn't expect it, so that was definitely what that giggle was about. It was like it's funny if you like sweet, like little kid movies. And considering I have a 3-year-old, so my life pretty much consists of Paw Patrol and more Paw Patrol. And recently my son's been obsessed with The Nightmare Before Christmas, which I totally am. I'm cool with that one. But he would watch The Pumpkin King, as he calls the movie, 100 times in one day. So even that movie, I'm a little okay with watching something else. So what is everyone's favorite Halloween movie? I don't know if I have a favorite Halloween movie. Definitely make sure you have no hair on your forehead. It's definitely sticking a little. I feel like whoever glued the lace on this in the factory didn't like adhere it really well to the... I'm hoping that it's like lashes, and maybe I just didn't wait long enough. I should just put this out of the front of my head and do like some weird scary unicorn. Would you be scared if I had like a unicorn horn coming out of my head? I look like a monster horn. So let's try this one more time. So it looks like part of the reason that it's not working is that the lace is not attached properly to this horn. So this other side, we're gonna leave the lace on and not cut it back at all. And hopefully it will adhere a little bit better. I will say that if you get these horns from Spirit Halloween, make sure that you check your horns because these definitely are shaped differently. So it looks like the best way to glue these on is to use the lace and not the horn at all. And look at the difference. See the size difference of these? It's absolutely crazy. So as these are drying, and they might still fall because we need to figure out a better way. I think that if I was going to wear these all day on Halloween, that I probably would take a piece of pantyhose and I would put it on the bottom of it and then glue that to my head, just because this isn't gonna last long term. So I'm going to actually be using eyeshadow to contour a little, and I'm going to be using the bright red, which you're gonna see this is something we're gonna be doing a lot. I just don't think that it makes sense to continually buy more like just Halloween makeup unless you are a cosplayer, and then you're probably going to want to find some specific colored highlighter. So I'm taking the bright red on this brush and I just kind of mark where I'm gonna contour. This is definitely much heavier than I ever would contour like my regular everyday contour. And then after I do that, then I'm gonna buff it out. There is some black in this brush. Make sure your brushes are the right ones and you're not using the wrong one. That one definitely was not the brush I wanted to use. Looks so awful now. I didn't know there was still stuff on that either. Look how down I went on that one. That was what happened. So because of that first mess up, I need to make sure they're the right color. When did that happen? I put that directly. FYI, don't put your blending tool directly into the container you're putting your fall off in. Alright, so I think that what we're going to do is we're going to put cover up on them. I want to add a little bit of red because this is where I normally contour to. Okay, so now I'm going to take my liner and I'm going to make little cracks so it looks like it's popping through my skin. Just little squiggles. You want some of them to be a little bit thicker than the other and shoot off. I want one to be a little big. That looks pretty good. I think that looks pretty good. And the last thing that I always do, well actually before I do that, I want to add a little bit of dimension on my neck right here, just so it looks like, doesn't look like you have a demon head in regular clothes, you know? This way you look like a monster, you know, out just for a night of Halloween fun. Oh, highlight. So the very, very last thing you want to do is highlight. Make sure you don't have black on your highlight brush because then you might cry. Oh, I lied. We still have to do our lashes. I'm not used to waiting this long to do them. Let's see, what do we have for our highlight? So we're using our Morphe palette. Honestly, I'm not sure. This is the High Impact Highlighter palette. I like to highlight right here. This side always ends up looking nicer. Does everybody else have like certain sides on parts of their faces that look better than the other? Because in general, this side of my face, because I'm right-handed, tends to look better, with the exception of I like this highlight and for some reason this one just never looks as good. And on my nose. Normally I don't put a highlight here, but when I'm doing like something crazy like this, then I do. I'm a big fan of highlight. I feel like I want to be seen from the moon. If you can't see me from the moon, then there's not enough highlight on my face. Especially when you're a plus size cosplayer, I feel like the highlight adds like a special something. I mean, it adds a special something to everyone, to let's be completely honest here. I definitely think everyone should shine. Okay. And I do like to put a little bit of a highlight above my eyeshadow, and we're just gonna do that as gold. When I say a little bit, man, does that look like a lot in person. So does anyone else have like not symmetrical lips? My top lip is, I don't tend to wear a lot of lipstick because my top lip, like this side is always more full than this side, and it's really irritating. I guess you can't really tell unless like they're your lips, but because they're my lips, they drive me absolutely crazy. Okay, and for finishing touches, let's get our lashes on. Any on hand except for some mermaid lashes, which wouldn't really go with this look. Like I said, one side always looks better. Like this eyelash looks so much better than this one, but we're just gonna leave it alone because if we try to continually fix it, and I don't know about you guys, but for me, if I continually try to fix like my lashes or one of my eyes or my eyeliner, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and then what? You end up with like these big black circles around your eyes, and it's never a fun experience. But, so that's my whole look for my makeup. I'm gonna go get one more touch and you'll see the finished product. And here's the final look. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe. I post new content every Wednesday and Sunday. If you have any questions, make sure to post them down below. Happy Halloween!